Ethan pressed his face against the cold window pane, scanning the dark cornfields stretching out beneath a starless sky. The cicada's hum had gone silent, a sign he'd come to recognize. That's when the lights would start. Clutching the radio by his bed, he tried not to blink. "It's happening again," Ethan whispered into the walkie-talkie, barely audible. "I'm telling you, the lights are real." Static crackled before his friend Jake's bored voice replied, "Ethan, man, give it a rest. You've been at this for weeks. The only thing those lights are is your imagination." But Ethan knew what he saw, faint glimmers hovering above the fields like drifting stars, and the silhouette of something or someone moving between the stalks. He'd tried telling his parents, his teachers, the sheriff, but they dismissed it as an overactive imagination fueled by too many late-night movies. Determined, Ethan rushed outside, adrenaline pumping as he approached the edge of the cornfield. The lights flickered closer now, sending a chill up his spine. Raising his phone to capture the evidence, the lights vanished, leaving only darkness and eerie stillness. The next morning, he tried convincing his classmates, but his warnings became a joke, a ghost story for kids to laugh at. Even Jake rolled his eyes. That night, driven by frustration, Ethan grabbed his backpack and snuck out past midnight, armed with a flashlight and his phone, desperate for proof. Reaching the silent fields, the lights returned brighter and closer than ever. Ethan's heart raced as he aimed his phone, but before he could record, a white beam shot down, enveloping him. Within the glare, he saw them tall, slender figures with insect-like limbs gliding toward him as if defying gravity. Their whispering in an incomprehensible language filled his ears. Stumbling back, his flashlight flickered as the beams warped reality around him. Then, just as quickly, the lights disappeared. Ethan's phone recorded nothing but static. When he shared his experience, his family and classmates mocked him. Grounded and ostracized, Ethan began to doubt himself, yet he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. On the seventh night, he awoke to a low hum vibrating through the walls. His door rippled like water before the lights returned, this time engulfing the entire house. Screaming, he watched as figures appeared, their void-like eyes locking onto him. Moving with impossible speed, they seized his parents, their bodies going limp like marionettes. Ethan fled into the night, beams of light chasing him through the cornfields. Reaching the sheriff's house, he pounded on the door until his fists bled. When the sheriff opened it, he froze, stunned by the figures emerging from the lights behind Ethan. The next morning, the town awoke to silence. Ethan's house was empty. His family had vanished without a trace. Whispers of the boy who cried aliens turned into fearful murmurs. As the townsfolk gathered, a low hum vibrated through the air, growing louder. The sky warped, stars flickering like dying candles, and at the center of it all stood the cornfield, where faint lights began to glow once more.